In a recent interview, Ark Invest CEO Cathie Wood stated that Bitcoin is replacing gold as a store of value. Now, Cathie is not alone, as Michael Saylor, Larry Fink, and others have shared this sentiment. We're going to dive into Cathie's interview and break down why Bitcoin is about to flip gold, flip bonds, and real estate, with some words from Giga Chad Michael Saylor. And also, we're going to bring you the math behind the great flippening. Yeah, that's right, the great flippening, where Bitcoin 10x's beyond the market cap of gold. We got a lot to cover. Let's get it.
Bitcoin, hands down. Hands down. Bitcoin is a hedge against both inflation and deflation. Yes, so is gold, but Bitcoin is digital. And if you look at the incremental demand, we're going to see, but gold already has its demand, it's happened, right? Bitcoin is new. And institutions are barely involved. And young people would much prefer to hold Bitcoin than to hold gold. It's interesting that both gold and Bitcoin are hedges against deflation, but Bitcoin's been doing better recently. As you know, or if you've been listening to In the Know, 15 million of the 19.5 million Bitcoin outstanding are in what we call strong hands. They haven't moved their Bitcoin in more than 155 days. And this chart just shows you that even relative to gold, Bitcoin has been rising. There's now a substitution into Bitcoin. And we think that is going to continue now that there is a much easier way, less friction-filled way to access Bitcoin.
Question about the halving. I've heard it called the halvening or the halving, but Either one. We're getting to that in April, I think, right? Yep. And that's been a bullish thing before. I sort of wonder, is it the same thing, though? Is that already getting priced in, or is there something technical that actually happens that would make it be priced in closer to the event?
So what we've seen historically is that the 12 to 16 months after a halvening is the best performance of Bitcoin. So that's what everybody's thinking about. This time might be different because the price of Bitcoin's higher. We now only have, I think it's 900 Bitcoin a day that come out, so that gets cut in half. It's not a lot of Bitcoin, but what it does do is it makes Bitcoin more scarce than gold. So for the first time in history, you have an asset that is more scarce than gold.
In what way more scarce?
Let's call it a stock-to-flow ratio. So the amount of Bitcoin mined every year divided by the amount outstanding, same with gold. And now there'll be, quote-unquote, less Bitcoin than gold mined on a relative basis.
Is it your view that Bitcoin has replaced or will replace or is in the process of replacing gold as the store of value for most investors?
There's a war for non-sovereign bearer instrument store of value. And it's Bitcoin versus silver and gold. And gold's 10 trillion and Bitcoin is 1 trillion. And it's pretty clear that Bitcoin is winning, gold is losing. Of all the commodities in the world, the only one that isn't suffering from inflation in the last 12 months is gold. You want to eliminate inflation, build everything with 24 karat gold. It won't go up in price. Bitcoin's definitely winning that struggle, and it's going to continue because you can move $1 billion block of digital gold at the speed of light. You can program it 60 times a second, and the maintenance cost is much lower. The custodial rates are much higher. So it's pretty clear that digital gold is going to replace gold this decade. What do I expect? I expect that Bitcoin, if it doubles every year at the end of the decade, it will flip gold, and then it'll flip monetary indexes, a little bit of bonds, a little bit of real estate, a little bit of equity, and emerges as a $100 trillion asset class. So 100x where it is right now. And when we get there, it'll be 5 to 7% of the worldwide economy.
Now, it's not like Giga Chad and Cathie are just blowing smoke up your ass, okay? There is actual math, reasoning, supply and demand, and logic behind the great flippening thesis. Now, let's look at this. We're going to break it down very simply. After the next halving in 2025, Bitcoin will actually be the most scarce asset in the world, surpassing gold. 21 million total Bitcoin, 900 are mined per day. Then after the halving, the new issuance issuance of Bitcoin gets cut in half to 450 per day. This makes Bitcoin exponentially more scarce. Now let's look at the chart. Stock to flow. So as we can see, gold was the most scarce asset up until this coming halving, which hits in about 2 months. And then you see the exponential growth, how absolute scarcity works compared to gold. This is why, as we talked about yesterday, be sure to check out that episode, all models will be broken. But hey, as Michael Saylor has said, you want immutable money. You want property that can't be taken from you. In order to do that, you have to make sure you take self-custody, get your Bitcoin off of exchanges, secure your seed phrase. And if you're looking to get started, you need help with that, or you're looking to take your setup to the next level, we got just the guys to get you covered. Simply Bitcoin Originals are powered by the Bitcoin Way. Your IT team in the Bitcoin world need help with wallets and nodes, inheritance planning, accepting Bitcoin payments, and more. Hey, looking to get started? You can book a free 30-minute call with the Bitcoin Way using that link below. You want to make sure you're stacking out there because things are getting mighty interesting, from the macro environment to the institutions driving this flight to quality. That's a lot of demand. And then the halving coming up, there's already not a lot of Bitcoin and there's going to be less. Simply, it just means number goes up. And if you need a breakdown of some of the supply and demand dynamics at play right now, be sure to check out yesterday's episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, share that Sound Money Gospel. Follow us on Twitter where we're getting all the latest breaking news. Set those notifications. We will be your guide through the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. Catch you all tomorrow. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.